All right, welcome back to a new shop update. It is August 2019 and got a couple new things from the previous update. Yeah, so I upgraded the enclosure for the 3D printer. This one here, it's pretty cheaply done. I'm really not trying to make everything super professional. I'm more about like function and fit than making it look super pretty. And so, yeah, this just works. It just keeps the heat inside of the enclosure. I got a thermometer in there so I can check what the temperature is. It's really just for printing in ABS. Everything else prints fine. And then I'm also working on these carbon fiber shifter paddles. This is how I machine the shifter paddles. I will bolt the carbon fiber down to the bed of the CNC, and so yeah, I can keep it flat. I mean, this obviously isn't a production machine, and so I can have it be, I think, 7 thou across 12 inches, so that's more than enough. I do a chamfer on there, but yeah, that's easily within my tolerance. I'm really not working on precision tolerances. I mean, back in my machine shop that I worked in before, we would work off tenths, and so yeah, this is pretty much nothing. My map hasn't been updated in probably 3 months. So I put a pin in for each order. I would say I'm probably like 100 orders behind, not even joking. Yeah, I'm almost 90 pins behind on this. So I just did my 300th order. And if you're still waiting on that giveaway, that's being delayed like almost a month just because it's been so insane this summer. I've been meaning to send out an email, but I don't have a system to email all customers. But yeah, it's cool seeing like where people order from. Yeah, it's super cool being able to go to Australia, getting over into Eastern Asia. And the other cool thing is I've been selling actually more into the Middle East. There's only one pin there, but I've sent like 2 more since then. So that's super cool. Like I sent a wheel that was like 2 blocks away from the Burj Khalifa. So that was super cool. And then, as you can see, I would say like probably 40% of my business is in the US, 40% in Europe, and then 20% in the rest of the world. But again, yeah, like this is almost 100 pins behind, so I'll try to get that updated soon. But the other cool thing that I've been working on is getting more efficient. Like that's been my big summer project, is efficiency with production, because I wanted to at the beginning of the year get away from doing build to order and going into batches, but it's just I've been consistently 4 weeks behind, and my max efficiency, I can only stay 4 weeks behind. So like I'm trying to get caught up, and then I'll switch to batches. But this will help with that. So yeah, with this soldering station, I have everything on magnets, so it's really nice and convenient. So then I also have like these third hands that are also all magnetized, and so you can just plop it on and off. So it's really nice having those be magnetic. It's really modular and convenient. And then I can have my solder, hot glue gun. The big thing from this summer that I'm super stoked about is this organizer right here. So this organizer is like my new favorite thing in the shop, no kidding. All my inventory is gonna be right in here. And the cool thing, so I'll have all my shifters. I've got 10 sets of the Asher shifters and 10 sets of the clutches. I've got my horn buttons in the back there. And then I've got the Precision Sim Engineering shifters for the Vantage wheels. The cool thing with these drawers is that they're all modular. So I can have everything labeled and then easily like accessible and organized. So I'll see like if I'm low on any hardware, I'll be able to easily see that. Same with the electrical, I can easily see everything. I found out that like these cubbies here, I hate having those. It's for inventory, because there's be a lot of times in the last couple weeks where I'll be building wheels and I'll do like a batch of like 4 or 5 R8 LMS wheels, and all of a sudden I'll be out of like this 12 pin connector, or I'll be out of these 4 pin connectors, and so then they'll all be delayed like another 4 or 5 days. And so this will really help with inventory. And another thing that I'll have is for each of my plug and play wheels, all of the custom parts will be in there too. So like for the R8 wheel, all like the clutch paddles, the shifter paddles, the knobs, the rear enclosure, and then those are the PCB for the dual clutch. So yeah, all of like the custom parts for that wheel will be in there, and then I can tell like, you know, how low I am on each of those. What I've been working on is like streamlining my workflow as well. So if I start with like say my aluminum plates, and so now I don't cut these in the CNC anymore, I get them water jet cut, and then what I'll have to do is I will go in and I'll do all of the countersinks on the drill press, and then I also have to put on this rounded edge, and so I do that over on the router table. And then once I'm done with this part, I'll sand the plate. I could be sandblasting it, but since it's just a plate, you know, I can easily just sand it as well. In the future, I'd like to switch over to having them be acid etched and anodized. So yeah, that'll be kind of the next step once I start going to bigger batches. But once I have the aluminum plate ready to go, then I'll be able to go over, I can powder coat it, I can cook it, and then it'll go over to the mold, and I'll cast the grips, and then I'm kind of working on like better organizing for my shelving. But so I'll have like all my molds right here, and then I'll have all of my grips that have like fresh out of the mold right here. So here's the GT, and I mean, it looks ugly because it's like it's got all of the mold release and gook and stuff on it still. And then this one was my first one, and you can see like it had really bad air pockets on the bottom. And so that's like a function of like working on casting the grips better in the mold. But then, so yeah, these are all R20 wheels. And so you can see like all the flashing and stuff like that on there. So I'll get that cleaned up, and then I'll go over here. And so the suede, it gets cut on the drag knife, and then I'll just drop it off over here. Once the suede is over here, I'll cover it with that glue there. And so it's a contact cement, you know, common in upholstery. But yeah, so I'll glue the back side of the suede, and you can see sometimes I put a nice little Easter egg inside of the suede. So yeah, but and then I'll cover that side of the grips as well, and then it'll go over here. And so this is my suede wrapping station. I know I've shown it before, and so I'm just kind of trying to show of how I am really working on my workflow here. Once I do the suede wrap, I can either, if it's like an R8 wheel like this, it'll go over to the soldering station and I'll finish it, or if it is like a standalone where it's getting shipped out right away, that's where I'll shrink wrap it, and then I'll do all my packaging right here. The rest of the shop's kind of a mess. That's just a hot tub, and then this is I don't know what I'm gonna do with this yet here. That's where I have my router table, and on the other side of the table is a table saw. But yeah, I'm right now, it's just kind of where I put my boxes before I cut them down. One cool thing too that I haven't showed too much about is this hydraulic press, and I'm invested probably like a good $1,000 into this hydraulic press so far. And what I'll do is, this is actually a 90-degree brake, and so I can take aluminum brackets and I can put a 90-degree bend on them. And the reason I got this was I was going to start making rigs, and so I was going to have all of the brackets done right here. But yeah, I don't know, the rigs, the whole like the 80-20 rigs, it's just the market is changing. I think there's a lot of players trying to come in because they see what SimLab is doing, and they see the success that SimLab is having, and you know, they think that, oh well, you know, I can come in too. And so I've been seeing a lot of players come in, and I just don't feel that moving extruded aluminum is really a big value add. I think it's going to kind of become commoditized, and there's just not going to be any money in it anymore. And so I'm kind of holding off on that. Another good use of that hydraulic press though is I'll be able to take out that press brake, and I'm going to have aluminum molding, and so I'm going to be able to bend aluminum plates for steering wheels, and that's gonna be super cool. Here's kind of a sneak peek also of an upcoming wheel. This is the R20 Special Edition, and so with this Special Edition, what I've got is gray suede, and then I have this custom engraved aluminum plate. So this is a engraved aluminum plate, and so what I do is I actually will CNC it, and then I'll do the countersinks on the drill press, and then I will buff it to a mirror finish, and then I'll actually powder coat it and then laser etch it. And so what you see here is it's a powder coat aluminum, but then laser etched to show this polished aluminum finish underneath. And yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm gonna actually start offering custom engraving for teams. So if someone orders a wheel and they want to have their team logo or whatever they want on there, I'll be able to engrave that. And then it's the same exact process for the wheel itself. So you can see that also is polished aluminum with that engraving. And yeah, this is like, I don't know, I think this is probably the coolest wheel I've built. I'm actually, for this particular special edition with the gray suede and with this design, I'm only doing 5 of these. And so yeah, once it comes up on the website, it's gonna be 5 and that's it, because I want to keep this limited. And you know, if a customer still wants to go in and, you know, do a custom engraving, you know, I'll be able to do that and I can quote out for that. But for this particular one, yeah, that's going to be limited edition. So yeah, keep your eyes out for that. A couple new additions to the shop here. I've actually, now that I'm trying to get more into like filmmaking and I'm learning about that, I got this C stand. And what that's used for is for those overhead shots. And so then I can attach the camera onto that and I can get those overhead shots that you saw like in the 488 build. And then this is just lighting. I've got an LED and then a soft light as well. So yeah, that's pretty much been my summer. They say it's really fun to work for yourself, and it is. You know, I can take a break anytime throughout the day and play with Kai, but you know, it's really not easy either. Right now I've been working 7 days a week, and you know, I usually put in probably a good 70 hours, you know, on the high end, sometimes maybe even 80 hours a week right now, just trying to keep up with the demand. I typically sell probably like 1 wheel per day, so I'm shipping, you know, around 30 per month, and like that's pretty much like at capacity for me. And so you know, that's where I've been really trying to focus on like my process, you know, kind of the cliche words like lean manufacturing, and really trying to just like improve my process, because then hopefully I'll be able to you know, eventually this fall get caught up, and then I can also start doing batches. But yeah, I've just been really conservative. Like right now I'm really trying to like pull back on expenses and not buy new equipment that I don't really need, because then I can get just a few small loans that I have paid off, and I can focus on cash flow. And then like some of you might know, like this shop here, this is at my parents', so I can, you know, in the next year or two get my own shop, my own building, and then kind of just continue to slowly grow from there. I'm actually really against like the kind of like the startup mentality where if you build it, they will come and, you know, just try to dump a bunch of money and, you know, do like plowbacks and stuff like that, where you're, you know, plowing back all your profit into the business. And you know, that works like to a sense, but I think that this market, it's not an extremely scalable market. And so like I even get jokes like, oh, you should go on Shark Tank, and that's just total BS, because this isn't a scalable market like that. This is obviously a very niche market, and so I think you have to really be careful with expenses, and you have to really be careful with like trying to hire new people. One thing that's really worked for me is stuff that I don't know. I mean, I have learned, you know, an unbelievable amount of things, but stuff that I know I need help on, like designing circuit boards, or like when I'm getting help on the carbon fiber stuff, I'm paying someone that, you know, is a professional in that, and they can help teach me, and I'm paying them on contract. And so I don't, you know, I'm not paying someone full time to do anything, because, you know, my shop's not big enough. You know, I would say right now there's enough to support me to live. but yeah, definitely not for other employees or for expenses that I really can't afford yet. And so that's really been my thought process. And as I do scale it out, I'll be able to be around long term, because especially like if the market turns, I don't want to be caught with my pants down, basically. I'm also really cautious of growth in the fact of I've read, I'm like an avid reader. I listen to a lot of audiobooks on entrepreneurship and things like that. One book that really struck out to me lately was Company of One, and it was such a great read and at a perfect time for me, because it says that growth isn't always good. Sometimes companies, they try to grow too fast and then they create too many problems, and they're no better off than they were when they were smaller. So my focus right now is to be a small niche company where I can build these bespoke wheels and try to be the best in the world at it. And that's what I'm working on doing. I'm working on a lot of upgrades across the board with my processes, also making the wheels better. And I think that does show over time. Yeah, also plans for this fall. We've got some super cool stuff coming out this fall, some new products to be excited about. Also, I'm going to start doing more streaming, and then I'm going to be doing like more of the podcast and focusing on that. And so, yeah, that's going to be a big goal for 2020, is going to be content. I think, especially like those how to build and those like build blog videos, people really like appreciate that, and they think they're super cool and they're super fun to make. And so that'll be something to kind of look forward to this fall, pushing out like the videos, like those how-to videos and like the build blogs. It's fun to do those, and I think like there's two sort of mindsets for doing stuff like that. There's other builders out there, there's other companies that they want to keep everything proprietary, and they think that it's the secret juju that makes them special. But as I learned this stuff, honestly, it's not special. It's just manufacturing, and I think that adding value to the consumer is more important to me, because I want to build a brand that people can trust. And so I think like you can either try to keep everything secret and have that be your big appeal, where you try to pretend to be a factory and try to be professional, or you could try to give everything away. And so that's my mindset. I think there's so much more value in giving away information and helping those that want to do it themselves, because then we can help create like a bigger community. And I think in the long run, that's going to be so much more valuable than just trying to be proprietary, because there's no patents in this. It's all been done before, really. And so I think that's really where the value comes from. And that's really what I'm excited about doing. I'm really excited about pushing out more content like that, and that'll be a big focus once I get caught up with the demand I have now, and I can open up a little bit more time to do that kind of stuff. That's definitely what I'm going to be excited to kind of learn and grow from there. So yeah, we'll talk soon. Thanks. And then the last upgrade from the shop this summer was this little guy right here. Some of you may have seen some pictures and stuff. He kind of finds his way into everything I do, because whenever I try to work, he's literally sitting at my feet all day, every day. And it's pretty cute, but I pretty much can't take a picture in the shop without him being pretty much right next to me. But this is Kai. He's my little shop buddy, aren't ya? He is 6 months old. He's a German Shepherd, and he is pretty much the dog of my dreams. I've wanted to have a dog like him for a long time, but I was working 2 jobs basically for the last 5 years, and I really just didn't have the space or time, and now I finally do. So I like getting to hang out with him. We can go out running in the middle of the day, take a break, but he likes to nap on the cool cement. Don't you, buddy?